Evelyn. My name is Evelyn, and I'll be correcting this essay for you. I really want to apologize about the delay in getting this essay correction to you. Unfortunately, there's something strange happening with the program we use, and not all of the emails are showing up. And so that's what happened with yours, I'm afraid. And that's why there's been a delay. I will keep an eye on the issue to make sure it doesn't happen again. But it is something that has been happening every now and then. I hope your exam went really well. However, I do want to get this to you so you can get some feedback with some suggestions on your writing. Okay, so let's get into it. The English and Homestay program, wonderful. Hello, my new host. My name is Evelyn, and I was assigned by English and Homestay to stay at your place. I will be doing my master in media and communication. I love to drink and share coffee. I would love to share with you a great mug of it when I arrive. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Do you know the people you will be staying with? Have you met them before? Are they an acquaintance of yours? The answer to that question is no. And so for that reason, this really should be treated as a formal letter. Okay, because it even says here, you're introducing yourself. And so you'd certainly want to start with dear, not hello, my new host. In fact, this is something I want you to avoid, even if it's an informal letter. In general, I'd like you to be a little conservative. And even if it's a letter to a friend, I'd like you to start with dear. So unless the instructions on the IELTS test page suggest something else. So here it could have been, dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, dear Mr. Jones. Okay, something like that. And that would have been fine. Now, because we said this is a formal letter, you should follow the conventions of formal letter writing. And the first convention of formal letter writing is that the first thing you want to write is the reason for your letter. Okay, so dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I am writing to thank you for agreeing to be my host family as part of the English and Homestay program and to introduce myself. Okay, now it doesn't say in the instructions to thank them. You don't have to, but I always think it's a nice touch. Alternatively, you could say, dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I have been informed that you have been assigned to me as my host family, and therefore I would like to introduce myself. Okay, that's also perfectly fine. Then you can say, my name is Evelyn, and I don't know, where are you from? So you could say that. You can say, my name is Evelyn, and I am from, I don't know, I'm from somewhere, and I am doing my master's. Usually it's apostrophe S in media and communication. And since you capitalized media, you should have capitalized communication too. Now, this is a program. Okay, when you see this English and Homestay, what are they saying to you? They're basically saying that it's an English program, so you can improve your English, but homestay is when you stay with a family rather than staying in a dormitory or staying in a hotel or something like that. So you're probably not going to be doing your master's during this program, okay? This is probably before your master's. So let's try it again. So from the beginning, let's try with all my suggestions. Let me see if I can remember them. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I was recently informed that you were assigned to be my host family, and so I would like to introduce myself. My name is Evelyn. I am from, I don't know, I'm from Czech Republic, and I am planning to do my master's in media and communication. Okay? Now, you decided here to include a little extra information about yourself, and that's fine. It's appropriate, but I did think some of this was a little, let me think, a little maybe basic vocabulary, and maybe you could have done something a little more grammatically sophisticated as well. Look what you've got here, okay? I love to drink and share coffee. Then that's its own sentence. And then you've got, I would love to share with you a great mug of it when I arrive. So you're really missing something here, linking these ideas. And again, it was repetition with the share, the love. Okay, I didn't really I thought you could have maybe written something a little more advanced. So let's try that. In fact, why don't we say something about the UK? You could say, I hear the UK has wonderful coffee, and since I really enjoy this drink, I hope we can share a mug of it when I arrive. All right, so it's just a suggestion. But you can see that I've done something grammatically a little more advanced here, and I haven't repeated all that vocabulary. All right, let's see what you've got here. This will be the first time I visit the UK, so I'm really not unfamiliarized with what I should expect. This isn't a question. You're not asking a question here, all right? So it should be sentence order, what I should expect. Now, a comma is not enough. Put a period here and then start a new sentence. Could you please help me understand? What should I pack? Now again, even though we've separated this, the grammar could be a little better. Rather than having this colon here, I think you could have just combined this into one nice formal sentence. So, could you please help me understand what I should pack? That's it. No colon, no capital, and then this should be in sentence order. What I should pack. The reason for that is because it's an indirect question. And when we write indirect questions, we use sentence form. It's indirect because you've already used the question form here. So this should be in sentence form. And then the question mark is fine because it is a question. Is it true that it is always raining? You're missing a word there. Do you have any personal recommendations? As far as getting a specific voltage charger for my electronic devices. I can now wait to know your personal favorite sightseeing suggestions. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. I didn't understand this sentence. You're asking questions and then all of a sudden you say something about sightseeing. This is the wrong word. The word you want is sightseeing. Okay? And you definitely wanted to use a different form here. So maybe I also can't wait. Or if you want to be formal, I also cannot wait to hear your personal favorite sightseeing suggestions. I think this is what you mean. I can't really say that I love that sentence there, only because you've asked a lot of really practical things like packing. Is it raining? Charger. And then all of a sudden you have this thing about sightseeing. So I felt like these were enough. Perhaps you could have just, this is the next thing I'm going to talk to you about, done them in indirect question form. What you have here is you have like this barrage of questions. Look, what should I pack? Is it true it's always raining? Do you have any recommendations? All of this, because they're direct questions, it comes off as very informal. And as I said in the beginning, this is a formal letter. So what did I tell you before? I said, make this one sentence, make it grammatically correct, no colon. Could you please help me to understand what I should pack? That's an indirect question. It's a little more formal because it has this, could you please help me? So here, instead of saying, is it true that it is always raining? You could have said, I have heard that it is always raining. I would like to know if this is true. I would like to know is a really nice way indirectly of asking a question. Okay. And then here you could say, lastly, would you mind telling me any personal recommendations regarding a specific voltage charger for my electronic devices? Okay. So that's another nice way of introducing a question in a more formal way. Okay. So that's how you do this. Now, since you're kind of changing subject, if you really wanted to keep this sentence, you would have to show that you understand I'm changing subjects here. Okay? So you could say, as for living in the UK, I would love to know what your personal favorite sightseeing suggestions are. Okay? So that's how I would do that. All right, finally, I would like. Again, in a formal letter, would like is appropriate, want is not. Finally, I would like to provide you with some details about my arrival. My flight will land in the airport Sunday morning, get rid of the. At 11, I will be at the entrance A. Here you needed a full stop here. It's two separate sentences. Looking forward to meeting you. Now, in IELTS, it's very important that you have a closing. Okay, so this was okay, but you still have to have like a sign off, like a yours sincerely. Usually here, honestly, yours sincerely would have been the best choice here. You do need to include it. Not including it in your test may reduce your score in coherence and cohesion. Okay, because it is a convention of letter writing and you do need to have it. So a lot of this is really nice, but it does need some work. I don't know if you said in your email anywhere what score it is you need. So I would love to get that information. If you did get your results back because you were doing the computerized test, I would love to hear that too. And if you're doing this, yeah. So anyway, let's keep going. We've got international marketing here. This one is tricky. Here you go. Okay, you need to do a master's, so you probably need a 7. Let's see. International marketing could be used as a cheaper resource to create communication campaigns with global impact, whereas the development process of mass of communication comes with the disadvantage of minimum levels of personalization, triggering disconnection, and making the spectator perceive it as invasive and intrusive. All right. The first sentence I thought was good. I liked it. Let me look at it again. Could be used as a cheaper resource to create communication campaigns with global impact. That was great. Here, though, you ran into a lot of problems. When you have whereas, it really needs to combine two separate, opposing, contrasting ideas. You didn't do that here. All right. I assume you mean this to contrast with this, but if that's the case, then you need to put this in one sentence, which you don't want to do because then the sentence is too long. Already, I felt like this was too long. Everything here that I've highlighted, I felt it was too long. What you could have said instead of whereas, and then this would have let you keep it as its own sentence, you could have said in contrast, okay, or however. So let's try that. However, the development process of mass communication comes with the disadvantage of minimal personalization, comma, triggering disconnection and making the spectator perceive it as invasive and intrusive. All right, now when I read it like this, I kind of understand what you're saying, but I do feel like you rushed into this a little too quickly. What would have been a better idea is if you had said, look, this is one side of the idea. Hey, isn't it great? Educational, inexpensive, fantastic. Other people, not so much a fan. They don't really approve of this. They disagree. So if you had talked about those two opposing arguments and then said, personally, I believe that this is, this is more negative than it is positive. Okay, so doing it like that with 3 sentences would have been, I think, a good way. Okay. All right, let's see. Now, I assume this is your position. Is this what you're telling us? You see, it's not really clear. So the examiner is going to be looking for your position. And so a good way to kind of signpost it, and when I say signpost, I mean really just kind of giving it like a word or an expression that makes it clear, like, okay, this is my position. Something like, in my opinion. Let's see. in my opinion, however, in my opinion, the development of mass communication, there we go. However, in my opinion, the development of mass communication comes with the disadvantage of minimal personalization, comma, triggering disconnection, making the spectator perceive it as invasive and intrusive. All right, it works a little better. But you do absolutely want to signpost what your position is. All right, it is well known that, I think you mean products. Products in mass are less expensive than one-shot creations. I think you mean while. While, what? Whiz is as well a true. I don't know what this means. I thought you were trying to say something else. I don't know what this means. Regarding the creation of communication tools like the case of advertising. I don't know what this means. Okay, this may be due to, you mean maybe as one word. Okay, maybe due to this, many institutions design in one country and only do slight changes to implement the same publicity in a different one. I support the necessity of this model when there is a limited budget, but it is mandatory a global reach for one campaign. All right, so what I'm finding, Evelyn, is a lot of grammar mistakes that are making it difficult to understand your message. Okay, and there were a handful of those. I mean, all right, fine. This was a vocabulary mistake. It's not a huge problem. I figured you meant products. That was easy. But the rest of this really was difficult to read. This sentence I couldn't understand because of this whole phrase here. Okay. Hang on. Okay, so this was really rather confusing. And then partially because I didn't understand this, I also couldn't understand this. Here you were missing some words. This should have been one word, maybe. Okay. And then due to this was fine, but then the that was wrong. And so these grammatical errors made it rather difficult to understand your meaning. Okay. And I'm also not sure what this paragraph is about. Remember that you're supposed to be talking about how international marketing can be a positive thing. It can show people new ideas, new concepts, spread language and culture. Here, I didn't get any of this. I saw the word global reach, but I still didn't understand where you were covering any of those issues in this paragraph. All right, let's keep going. Conversely, it can be observed that, okay, not personalizing the communication for the regions where it will be shared, no comma, could make it irrelevant, comma, impacting the results of it. Careful with all of these it's. You have a new paragraph. We don't know what it refers to. Okay, so why don't we try that again? Conversely, it can be observed that not personalizing the communication for the reasons where the international marketing will be shared, no comma, could make it irrelevant, comma, impacting the results, period. Impacting the results. Okay? Several studies suggest that when someone watches a video with an unknown language, actors with different ethnicity, or two unfamiliar scenarios, this makes them feel unidentified, comma, creating a barrier to receive the message. All right, now you're talking about something else here. You're supposed to be talking about international marketing as being invasive and intrusive. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking to me about it hitting the mark, not hitting the mark. Like, it hasn't managed to reach the consumer, and they're confused. But that's not invasive or intrusive. Do you understand what I mean? So I feel like I like where you're going with this, generally speaking, but it's not what the question asked you. So let's look at the conclusion. There are several forms. No, you mean something else. There are several ways to spread ideas worldwide. It is possible to make them in one city. The ideas? Use it. I don't know what it is now, because you're talking about ideas, and then here you have them, and all of a sudden you have it. Use it in many and have the benefits of scale economy. Alternatively, deliver a message considering the personal necessities of the target raises. All right, grammar is a real problem here, Evelyn. I just don't know what you're really trying to say here. Um, and some of these grammar problems are creating lack of coherence, and it just feels like a lot of disjointed ideas. Like I'm trying to follow it, but some of the grammar makes it hard. And then the fact that the ideas aren't really closely linked makes it difficult to really understand what your whole message is here. Okay, so I really hope you did well on your IELTS exam. And again, I really truly apologize for getting this late to you. Let me know what your results are. And if you enjoyed this correction, let's talk about what next steps are. Let's talk about how we can help you if you need that help in the future. Okay. So I want to wish you good luck with your results and I look forward to hearing from you.